Alright, against the odds time, playing some 5-color Panharmonicon in Standard. This is probably the nut draw, actually, for this deck. Meandering River for our opponent. Well, let's just Plains and Prophetic Prism. Draws us a card. Gearhulk, number 1. Port Town, untapped. Let's just Glint Nest Crane. Get a Filigree Familiar. Put the rest to the bottom. Evolving Wilds, pass turn. Island for our opponent, and passes. Crack Evolving Wilds, get a... Good lord. Swamp, I guess? Let's get in with our Crane. Play Prophetic Prism. We'd like to find a land here. Ay, no land. Alright, pass the turn. Tap land for our opponent, and passes. Reflector Mage. Well, Filigree Familiar. Void Shattered. Alright, let's get in with our Crane. Pass the turn. Island for our opponent. Ooh, and a Jace. Come on, land. Untapped land for Panharmonicon would be so good. Oh, eerie interlude. Well, let's get in at Jace. And just play Servant of the Conduit. Pass the turn. Opponent keeps drawing with Jace. Plays land and passes. We do not get a land. Well, let's Panharmonicon. We had a chance too. We just didn't draw lands. Well, we're still not drawing lands. And our opponent has a steady stream of card advantage thanks to this Jace that we can't really deal with. Pass the turn. Opponent bounces our Mana Dork. Gets in for 5. Tap land and passes. Oh my god. Well, let's attack Jace. Opponent kills our Crane. And Reflector Mage, this Gearhulk. Glimmer of Genius for our opponent. Oh, deck! Why aren't you giving us lands? Pass the turn. Discard a Crane. Land for our opponent, untapped. Draws with Jace. And passes. Has to discard. There's a tap land. Well, let's play our Servant of the Conduit. Give some energy. Wandering Fumarole. Pass the turn. Anticipate for our opponent. Does not Gearhulk. Bounces our Servant again. Well, let's replay our Servant. Play a Glint Nest Crane. Opponent counters. Alright, pass the turn. We still can't attack. Our opponent just eats our creature with Gearhulk. Here comes the Gearhulk. Gets to flashback Glimmer. Opponent gets in with the Gearhulk. Down to 10. Cashes in the Jace. Bounces our Mana Dork. Well, let's replay our Mana Dork. Another Gearhulk. Oh my god. To flashback Void Shatter. And then Glint Nest Crane gets us a Prophetic Prism. Oh, the lack of lands is going to kill us in this one. Pass the turn. Alright, Quarantine Field, and that's the game. Well, unfortunately, we went through 22 cards and only drew 4 lands, which is not acceptable. I guess we bring in a couple negates, and that's probably it. Go down a Noxious Gearhulk and a Reflector Mage. Try it like that. Ah, we sort of have lands. They're not good lands, but they are lands. So Hissing Quagmire, goo. Port Town for our opponent, untapped. Stomper, alright. Holdout Settlement, goo. Plains for our opponent. Oh no, all 3 holdout settlements. Let's Pilgrim's Eye. Get a... I do not even know. Forest, pass the turn. Ether Hub for our opponent. Well, let's get in with Pilgrim's Eye. Play a Familiar. Ooh, geez, we probably could have resolved a Panharmonicon there. Opponent passes. Well, let's Ether Hub. Attack with both. And Panharmonicon. Oh, we have a Panharmonicon down. Oh, man. No, don't kill it. Come on. You gotta let it live. Opponent passes. Panharmonicon. So let's attack with both. And play a Arborback Stomper. We need to spend our green mana with our energy. Stomper. Gain 10 with the double trigger. Lumbering Falls go. What do you got, opponent? Do you got a Wrath? Opponent. Quarantine Field X1. Goes after Panharmonicon. Interesting. Glint Nest Crane. Get a Combustible Gearhulk. Put the rest to the bottom. Play a Forest. Tap our Glint Nest Crane. and attack with everything. And pass the turn, opponent's down to 3, which means if we ever resolve Combustible Gearhulk, that's going to be gaining us a bunch of life. Here comes a Wrath. Fumigate kills our stuff, gains our opponent some life. We draw a negate. Ooh, Bring to Light. White, green, blue, black. Oh, I guess we can go X5. Play Filigree Familiar. Gain a couple life. Bring to Light, X5. We have tons of choices, but what is our best choice? Yeah, let's just get Cloud Blazer. Cast Cloud Blazer. Draw 2, gain 2. We're up to 36. Ooh, and a Noxious Gearhulk. Alright, pass the turn. Next turn we have Combustible Gearhulk. Another Fumigate. We draw a Prophetic Prism. Oh, that actually lets us do it, I think. So we can Ether Hub, get an energy. Prophetic Prism draws us a card. Oh, Panharmonicon. Maybe we play it slow. Panharmonicon. Follow it up with a Glint Nest Crane. Triggers twice. First one, we get a Filigree Familiar. Oh, this is so sweet. Look at the value. Second one, Panharmonicon number 2. And they are not legendary, so we can trigger things 3 times. Pass the turn. Opponent passes. Panharmonicon number 2. And then 1, 2, 3, Filigree Familiar. Summary Dismissals. Alright, pass the turn. We're not going to fight that. We just want to resolve... Oh, I should have attacked there. We just want to resolve Gearhulks. Oh, man. Combustible Gearhulk triggering 3 times. Oh, my God. That would be so sweet. Oh, my goodness. We have a shot. Prism. Let's Prism. See what our opponent does. Let's resolve. We draw 3, thanks to double Panharmonicon, Evolving Wilds, Prism, and Needle Spires. So let's Prism. I think we'll draw 3 more. Swamp, Servant, and Evolving Wilds. And then Servant of the Conduit gains us 6 energy. Oh man, life with double Panharmonicon is so sweet. We'll play an Evolving Wilds, get in with our Glint Nest Crane. Oh my goodness. This is so good. Pass the turn, leave up our negate. Opponent anticipates. Not too scary when we're drawing 3 off of our Prophetic Prisms. Opponent draws a few more cards. Sure. And passes. Well, let's crack Evolving Wilds. Get a mountain. Let's just attack with both creatures. Opponent takes it. Play a Evolving Wilds. Let's just pass the turn. Here comes a Gearhulk to draw some more cards. Opponent hits us down to 31. Sure. Well, crack Evolving Wilds, get our last basic, an island. Opponent has to discard 2 hand size. Lumbering Falls. And our opponent scoops it up. Double Panharmonicon. Killing it. Alright, on to game 3. Prairie Stream for our opponent. Let's just Hissing Quagmire. Pass the turn. Opponent has an island. Sanctum and Prism. Opponent anticipates. Put some stuff to the bottom. We draw a card. Another creature land. Pass the turn. Tap land for our opponent. Let's get down a creature. Hold out Settlement and Filigree Familiar. Gains us a couple life. Pass the turn. Another Anticipate for our opponent. Port Town. Untapped. And passes. Let's Glint Nest Crane. Whiffs! Ugh. Glint Nest. Attack with our Filigree Familiar. Planes, and another Prophetic Prism. Pass the turn. Oh, we could use our Panharmonicon. Opponent has a Glimmer of Genius to draw a couple cards. Tap land for our opponent. Taps out for a Gideon. Well, this is a window for Panharmonicon. And there's a negate. Well, let's send both at Gideon. Opponent trades off. Filigree Familiar gets us an Ether Hub. Then we will play a Glint Nest Crane. Oh my goodness, Glint Nest Crane. We have so many artifacts, and we are not good at getting them. Wandering Fumarole. Pass the turn. Now hopefully our opponent goes to Wrath here. Whoa, fires up Gideon. Okay. Gets in some damages. Tap land. And passes. Well, let's send our Cranes at Gideon. Play a Filigree Familiar. Gain some life. Play Needle Spires. Pass the turn. Here comes Gideon. I think we take our beats one more time. Down to 14. Port Town. Untapped. kills our Filigree Familiar. We draw a card, another Familiar. And Deadlock, crap, okay. Activate Hissing Quagmire. Send everything at Gideon. So Gideon down, play Evolving Wilds, pass the turn. We're going to leave up our negate here, I think. Ether Hub for our opponent gains an energy and passes the turn. Alright, Evolving Wilds. Get an island. Let's Prophetic Prism. Draws us a card. Servant A. Get in with our Cranes. Play a Filigree Familiar. Go up to 16 and pass the turn. Planes for our opponent. And passes. Well, let's do some attacking. Gonna tap our Familiar. Get in with our Cranes. Play an Ether Hub. Get an energy. Bring to light X5. Opponent negates. Well, let's Servant of the Conduit. Pass the turn. Can we really win just by beating down? Quarantine Field. I say we negate that. Opponent passes. Oh, Gearhulk. Play Green Warden. Get back our negate. Attack with the crew. And this sets us up to potentially just win next turn. I was going to say Stroke of Genius. Glimmer of Genius for our opponent. Are they dead? 5-color Panharmonicon. Cruising through blue-white control. And our opponent scoops it up. Too good. It's just too good. 5-color Panharmonicon.
Alright, against the odds time. 5-color Panharmonicon in Kaladesh Standard. Wandering Fumarole for our opponent. Alright, let's Servant of the Conduit. Get some energy. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an island. And Glitness Crane gets a... Whoa! We're in the Panharmonicon mirror. Who would have thought that would be a thing? Glitness Crane. Come on, Panharmonicon. Oh, well, I guess we'll just take Noxious Gearhulk. Play a mountain. Another servant. Pass the turn. Oh, Panharmonicon mirror. What is happening? Alright. Glassblower's Puzzle Knot. Fire Bluff Canal. Opponent passes. There it is. Alright, so Forest. And I think we will just play Panharmonicon. Pass the turn. I don't even think do we want to attack? Let's not attack. Who knows what will happen in the Panharmonicon mirror? Not me. Definitely not me. Harnessed Lightning takes down a Servant of the Conduit. Tap land for our opponent. Well, we got double Muldrifter. Let's play Plains and Cloud Blaze. Gonna trigger twice, thanks to Panharmonicon. Draw 4, gain 4, another Panharmonicon. Oh, God. Alright, pass the turn. Mountain for our opponent. And Panharmonicon across the table. 1, 2, 3, 4. Panharmonicon, number 2. And let's just Glitness Crane. Trigger it 3 times. Pilgrim's Eye, number 1. Number 2. Panharmonicon, number 3. Put the rest to the bottom. Glitness Crane, trigger 3 is a whiff. Alright. Hissing Quagmire, pass the turn. Man, 3 Panharmonicons is the best. Oh, goodness. Panharmonicon set Glassblower's Puzzle Knot? Really? That's your plan? Oh, module, okay. Opponent wants some energy. Panharmonicon, number 3. Prophetic Prism, draw 4. Evolving Wilds, Ether Hub, Gearhulk, and Familiar. So let's play Ether Hub, play Servant of the Conduit, gain 8 energy. Should we attack with everything? Yeah, let's attack with everything. Put our opponent down to 18, pass the turn with our... Man, we just need a Eerie Interlude. Panharmonicon, number 2 for our opponent, and passes. Well, let's lead on Prophetic Prism. Draw 4. So absurd. Stomper, Prism, Gearhulk. Oh God, Gearhulk. Yeah, let's do that. Murderous Gearhulk. Oh Lord, the triggers. Okay, 3 and 1. 4, 4, 4. Alright, so we're gonna grow our team a bit. 4 Gear Hulk triggers. And we will swing with everything. 5-color Panharmonicon. Oh no! Select for inspection. Alright, so our opponent stays alive, I think. Just barely. They have another one? Oh my god. Opponent. Really? Really? Takes a million. We'll play... Geez. Shambling Vent. Do some discarding. Glimmer of Genius for our opponent. And our opponent scoops it up. 5-color Panharmonicon. Better than 2-color Panharmonicon. I guess we want Ceremonious Rejections? Maybe Negates and Artifact Removal? Maybe go down one of our Noxious Gear Hulk, since we just didn't see many creatures. Go down to 1 Eerie Interlude and go down a Ring Delight. Try it like that. Alright, this is actually pretty good. Tap land for our opponent. Passes a turn. Lumbering Falls. You. Spire Bluff. And passes. Well, in that case, let's just Forest and Servant of the Conduit. Gives us some energy. Pass a turn. Anticipate. Opponent's digging for their Panharmonicon. Galvanic Bombardment takes down our Servant of the Conduit. And Ether Hub for our opponent. And a Glintnest Crane. See what it finds, our opponent. Nothing. So let's Glintnest Crane. Go digging for our Panharmonicon. Familiar. At least we get something. Put the rest to the bottom. Evolving Wilds, pass the turn. We have a Panharmonicon answer, which is nice. Another Crane for our opponent. Do they hit this time? Module. Whenever creature enters the battlefield, get an energy for return creature. Okay. Well, let's crack Evolving Wilds. Get a Swamp. So Ether Hub, get an energy. Pilgrim's Eye, search out a land. I think we need a mountain. And pass the turn. Leave up Ceremonious Rejection. Glassblower's Puzzle Knot. Not going to counter that. Opponent passes. Let's play the mountain. Let's just Filigree Familiar. Gain a couple life. Pass the turn. Opponent. Panharmonicon. Alright. Let's just ceremoniously reject that. Opponent passes. 1, 2, 3. Bring to light X5. And I think we just get Cloud Blazer. Draw some cards. Gain some life. Keep digging for our Panharmonicon. Ugh. Alright, pass the turn. Feels like we're still in good shape, though. Sacks the Puzzle Knot. Does some scrying. And passes. We get Evolving Wilds. Well, let's just Verdurous Gear Hulk. Put a counter, put 2 counters. Make it so our Unruly Mob can attack through these Glintnest Cranes. Select for inspection. Bounces our Pilgrim's Eye. I guess that gets us another land, so it's not the end of the world. Let's just crack Evolving Wilds now. Get a Plains. Pass the turn. Opponent. More Puzzle Knots. Gotta keep that scrying going. I don't even know what is the idea of this deck? What are they trying to do to us? Passes. Well, let's go attacking. Opponent blocks, unblocks, blocks, takes some damage. So let's just replay Pilgrim's Eye, get our last basic, play the island, and we're just going to pass and leave up Appetite for the Unnatural. Make sure nothing crazy can happen here. Opponent anticipates and scoops it up. 5-color Panharmonicon takes down 2-color Panharmonicon. Woo! Alright, sweet.
Alright, against the odds time, playing some 5-color Panharmonicon in Standard. And, I think we got a mulligan. We can't actually cast anything. Alright, we'll try this. Highland Lake for our opponent. Panharmonicon number 2. So, land go. Island for our opponent. And Storm Chaser Mage. Alright, we take 1 down to 19. Not a land. This one might not work out. Incendiary Flow. Glintnest Crane would actually be a good blocker if we got it down. Down to 14. Come on, land. Alright, Ether Hub works. So Ether Hub, get an energy. Glintnest Crane to play some defense. Get a Filigree Familiar. Pass the turn. If we can land to get Pilgrim's Eye down, that would be sweet. Thermal Alchemist for our opponent. And passes. Land? We're doing it. We are doing it. Wow, the world's slowest start, but we're getting there. Pilgrim's Eye. Search out a Plains. Pass the turn. Another Thermal Alchemist. So we're going to start getting pinged, but we're also going to start gaining an insane amount of life. Plains. And Panharmonicon. Oh, if this hand actually wins. Pass the turn. Down to 13. See what our opponent has. Just passes. Filgry Familiar. Gains 4 life, back up to 17. Play Swamp and Glint Nest Crane. Double search for artifacts. Another Filgry Familiar for more life gain. Oh, Panharmonicon's actually going to get us back in this game. Come on, artifact. Whoa. Well, let's take Noxious Gearhulk for even more life gain. Oh, pass the turn. I don't know if our opponent can win from here, in all honesty. Pings us down to 16. Pings us down to 15. Plays a land. There's Fevered Visions. Pumps up Storm Chaser. It's not going to matter. If we draw a land, we get to double Noxious Gearhulk. Alright, I think I have a plan. Our plan is... This is going to be so sweet. Servant of the Conduit. Doubles up, thanks to Panharmonicon. Let's just do that for now. We'll save our Eerie Interlude. Filgry Familiar, gain 4. Evolving Wilds, pass the turn. We were so dead. And then Panharmonicon. Oh, opponent pings us down to 18, down to 17. We're going to drop to 15 from drawing a card here. Oh man, another Noxious Gearhulk. Opponent plays an island. Alright, Collective Defiance. Gonna do some damage. Unlikely to matter in the long run, thanks to these Noxious Gearhulks. It is painful. We drop to 10, a virtual 8. But we crack our Evolving Wilds, get an island, play Holdout Settlement, and Noxious Gearhulk. So let's see, let's destroy Thermo Alchemist, and destroy Thermo Alchemist. Gain 6 life in the process. Opponent pings us, and pings us. And we even have the Eerie Interlude in hand. So we go back up to 14, do some attacking. This deck is so ridiculous. Put our opponent down to 16, pass the turn. Oh, another Filgry Familiar. I don't think our opponent can kill us from here. Opponent plays another Fevered Visions. Wow, I think next turn we just Panharmonicon, Eerie Interlude. Oh, that's gonna... Oh, come on, tap out, tap out. Oh, the... Oh, this might be the best turn ever to happen in Kaladesh Standard. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. We play Panharmonicon, number 2. And with our opponent tapped out, we will do a bit of Eerie Interluding. Oh my god. Oh, watch this stack. Oh. End of turn. We draw a card, some cards, lose some life thanks to Fevered Visions. But then, everything comes back into play. So we gain 6 energy, search for up to 3 lads. Destroy both of our opponent's creatures to gain some additional life. Oh my god. We might as well destroy a familiar too. Gain 12 life from Filgry Familiars. Oh! Oh my god. And our opponent scoops it up. Panharmonicon. Getting things done. Alright, as far as sideboarding goes, I guess we can bring in our negates potentially. Go down. Maybe Cataclysmic Gearhulk for now, and a Reflector Mage. Try it like that. Yeah, this sounds pretty good. Mountain for our opponent. Let's just Evolving Wilds go. That gets us to our 3 mana stuff, which is nice. Island for our opponent. And Curious Homunculus. Curious Homunculus. Let's get a Swamp. Play Sanctum. Ooh, there's Panharmonicon. Servant of the Conduit. Get a couple energy. And pass the turn. Another land for our opponent. Tormenting Voice. Madness to discard a Fiery Temper. Kill our Servant, I assume. Alright. Opponent gets in for 1, I assume. Yep. Since we do our land, I think we can just Reflector Mage here. Reflector Mage, bounce the Homunculus, pass the turn. Alright. Collective Defiance. That means, boys and girls, that we get a Panharmonicon. Setting up for Insanity next turn, assuming it lives. Island for our opponent. Incendiary Flow. Down to 13. Well, I think we just need to Pilgrim's Eye, search out 2 lands. Mountain, second one, search out a forest? Yeah, probably forest. Play the mountain, pass the turn. Opponent's going to flip their Homunculus, but we're getting there. We have a Gearhulk, 2 Gearhulks actually. Opponent's going to kill our Pilgrim's Eye. Okay. Bedlam. Bedlam Reveler? Sure. Double Gearhulk. Double Gearhulk. Kill both creatures with Panharmonicon. Oh, and another Panharmonicon. Well, I think we just got a Gearhulk here. No sense in waiting. We will kill both of your creatures. Gain 6 life. Oh, Panharmonicon. Oh, the greatest. The greatest thing of all time. Back up to 17. Our opponent's been damaging us the whole time, but just can't beat Panharmonicon. Fevered Visions. Opponent's going to draw some more cards to cast with our Panharmonicon. And a Thermal Alchemist. A land would... Okay. Have you ever wanted to see someone scoop? Now's your chance. So let's Verdurous Gearhulk. We will put 8 counters on our Noxious Gearhulk. Oh my god. Panharmonicon is too good. This card's busted. And we got the GGs. Oh, our opponent's gonna scoop it up. Panharmonicon. Oh, we found the secret sauce for Kaladesh Standard. 5-color Panharmonicon. Alright, against the odds time, 5-color Panharmonicon in Standard. And we'll keep this. Got some mana and some stuff. No Panharmonicon, though. Wandering Fumarole, goo. Opponent plays a mountain and passes. Well, Ether Hub, and let's just Glint Nest Crane. Finds us. Panharmonicon? Nothing. Oh, Glint Nest. Alright, put everything to the bottom, pass the turn. Opponent plays a forest, and Servant of the Conduit gets some energy of their own. Well, let's get in with Glint Nest Crane. Put our opponent down to 19. Play Servant of the Conduit, Ether Hub, pass the turn. So we're actually set up for Verdurous Gearhulk next turn if we want to. Mountain for our opponent. Pummeler. Sure. No attacks. We get a Sanctum. Let's just hold out Settlement and play a Verdurous Gearhulk. Make our Glint Nest Crane huge. Get in with Glint Nest. Put our opponent down to 14. Pass the turn. 4 is for our opponent. Goes to combat. Tags with both. Okay. So let's block with our Gearhulk. Build to smash. Makes it a 4/4. Uncaged Fury. So is this just the nut draw? Okay. Well, let's Filigree Familiar. Gain a couple life. I think we were dead there if our opponent used their energy. I guess they were an energy short. And we better pass the turn. I'm scared to attack now. Opponent has Verdurous Gearhulk. Spreads the love around. Okay. Passes. We get Evolving Wilds. Now this is risky, but let's Panharmonicon. Evolving Wilds, pass the turn. See if we live. Our opponent did use a bunch of pump spells, so maybe they're out of pump spells. Plays a mountain. Voltaic Brawler. Okay. Well, we gotta be scared of this Pummeler. They can pump it twice. So it can become an 8/8. Opponent swings with everything. So block, block, and block. Pumps it to a 4/4. Alright, we draw a card. Don't lose any life. It's a swamp. Crack Evolving Wilds. Get a Plains. Ooh, Reflector Mage. Okay. That changes things. So, Reflector Mage. Double trouble. Double it up. Bounce the Pummeler. Bounce the Verdurous Gearhulk. Attack for 5 in the air with Glint Nest. Put our opponent down to 9. Play a Swamp. Filigree Familiar. Gain 4. Up to 18. And remember, our opponent can't replay those cards, so they can't really kill us. They might not even be able to attack here, and we're like a draw away from just winning. Opponent has 1 unknown card. Oh, they have a Bristling Hydra. Okay. Hydra for our opponent. Sure. Goes to combat and passes. Yeah, Prophetic Prism works. Prophetic Prism. Draw 2. Evolving Wilds and Needle Spires. Get in with our Glint Nest Crane. Put our opponent down to 4. Play Needle Spires. Pass the turn. All right, opponent. Can you kill us here? And can you deal with Glint Nest? There's Verdurous Gearhulk. Gonna pump up some things. Put some counters here and there. Goes to combat. Swings with the crew. Does our opponent pay an energy? They do. So fire up our Wandering Fumarole. Block and block. Familiar dies. We draw a card. Ooh, Glint Nest Crane. Sweet. Crane wins it for us. So let's just attack with Crane. If they deal with it, we'll move on from there. Get in with Crane. The old 5/7 Glint Nest. And that does it. 5-color Panharmonicon. Beats it all. Doesn't even care. And let's just run it back. Lots of tap lands. A little scary, but we got a lot of good cards. Tap land for our opponent. And passes. And let's just Hissing Quagmire pass the turn. Opponent plays a Mountain. And Servant. Gets some energy. Alright, Sanctum. And let's play a Servant of our own. Pass the turn. So we have turn 3 Panharmonicon. Game Trail. Tapped. Opponent passes. Okay, so play an island. And Panharmonicon. Pass the turn. If our opponent can't kill it, crazy stuff happens next turn. Opponent pings us for 2 with the Servant. Whoa, going aggro. Okay, hits us for 5. Down to 15. And passes. Well, let's make an energy. Play Prophetic Prism. Draw 2. Ether Hub and Prophetic Prism. And then let's just Filigree Familiar. Gain 4. Make a blocker. Panharmonicon. Pass the turn. Opponent. Alright. Plays a Verdurous Gearhulk. Move some counters around. I wanted to bring to light for Muldrifter, but we might have to get Reflector Mage now. Opponent passes. Play Ether Hub. Blue, green, black. Colorless. Colorless. Bring to light X3. Get a Reflector Mage. Cast Reflector Mage. Double up on the triggers. Bounce both. Servant and Gearhulk. And then get in 4/4. And pass the turn. Opponent plays a Pummeler. Gets some energy. They need to deal with Panharmonicon. That's their big issue here. Opponent passes. We get a holdout settlement. So let's Prophetic Prism. Draw a couple cards. Oh, lands everywhere. Ooh, Verdurous Gearhulk is not a land. Play Ether Hub. Get some energy. And I guess we just Verdurous Gearhulk, double it up. Double trouble. Verdurous Gearhulk. Put 4 counters on Filigree Familiar. Put 4 counters on Reflector Mage. Make them both into 6-powered creatures. Tag with both. Put our opponent down to 4. We have about 1 million lethal threats. What can you do, opponent? And our opponent scoops it up. Oh, Panharmonicon, Gearhulks. Too good. Just too good for Standard. Alright, against the odds time. 5-color Panharmonicon in Standard. I guess it's actually a pretty good hand. If we get lands for Panharmonicon, Swamp for our opponent, and Crypt Breaker. Land? Servant. Okay, well let's be greedy. Let's play Servant of the Conduit. If we draw an untap land, we just Panharmonicon, then start drawing insane cards with Prophetic Prism. Island for our opponent. And Smuggler's Copter. Come on, land. Eerie Interlude. Alright, let's Prophetic Prism. Into a land, please. Ether Hub. Gets us an energy. And then, I guess we'll just Glint Nest Crane. Finds us a Familiar. Sure. And pass the turn. Well, we got Panharmonicon for next turn. And a Eerie Interlude. Here comes Smuggler's Copter.
Gonna start looting, doing some stuff. Discards a Haunted Dead. Gets in for 3. Choked Estuary for our opponent. Tapped. Ooh, and another land. Alright, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Panharmonicon. Coming down. Needle Spires. Tapped. Pass the turn. Crazy things are gonna start happening. See if our opponent gets back their Haunted Dead. See if it matters. Here comes Haunted Dead. Discards a Smuggler's Copter and a Scrap Heap Scrounger. Here comes Smuggler's Copter. Gonna do some looting. Attacks with Haunted Dead. Well, we're gonna block. I don't think it's worth taking 2 damage. So block Haunted Dead. Drop to 14. Sanctum of Ugin for our opponent. And passes. Oh, here comes Elder Deep Feed. Yep. Okay. See what our opponent goes tapping. Gonna tap some lands. Does this mean we should just blink everything here? I mean, it's not insane, but at least it generates some value. So blink, blink. Opponent taps our stuff. Would be nice to just draw a land here. Sack Sanctum. Probably gets another Elder Deep Fiend. Oh, Distended Mindbender. Okay. There's a land. So play the land. Play Glintnest Crane. Double trigger. Get a Prophetic Prism. Put the rest to the bottom. Trigger 2. Get a Cataclysm Gearhulk. Put the rest to the bottom. Pass the turn. Get back all of our stuff. Gain some energy. Get some more Glintnest Crane triggers. Verdurous Gearhulk. And wow, 4 lands. All right. So see what our opponent does. Here comes Smuggler's Copter. Discards a Liliana. We'll just chump a Deep Fiend. Down to 11. Land for our opponent. And passes. We get a Holdout Settlement. So play Holdout Settlement. Prophetic Prism. Draw a couple cards. Ooh, there's Eerie Interlude. And Evolving Wilds. So play a Verdurous Gearhulk. Pump up Glint Nest. Pump up Verdurous Gearhulk. And put a counter on our Servant. And pass the turn. Opponent discards a Minister of Impediments. Makes a zombie. Gets back Scrap Heap Scrounger. Sure. A little worried about another Elder Deep Fiend. Oh, goodness. There's Descended Mindbender. I guess they can take our Eerie Interlude, which is annoying. Sack Sanctum. Passes the turn. No Elder Deep Fiend. Whoa! Holy! Okay, that changes things a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No attacks. Noxious Gearhulk. Double triggers, so we target Distended Mindbender. Target Scrap Heap Scrounger. Opponent sacks. Elder Deep Fiend. Taps down our stuff. We kill Scrap Heap Scrounger, go up to 13. Play Evolving Wilds, pass the turn. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I see 12 damage, so I think we might survive this turn, just barely. Here comes Smuggler's Copter. If they find the 3rd Elder Deep Fiend, then can't do much about that. There's the attack. Gets in for 7. Loots with Smuggler's Copter. Discards a land. Hits us down to 5. Passes. We crack Evolving Wilds. Get a Swamp. Get a Filgrief Familiar. So 1, 2. Prophetic Prism. Draw some cards. Hissing Quagmire. Ooh, and Stomper. Arborback Stomper. Gains us 10. Thragtusk coming through. Back up to 15. Hissing Quagmire. We might as well attack with... Well, do we need to play defense? Let's get in with our Noxious Ghoul. Put our opponent down to 15. Pass the turn. Opponent discards Crypt Breaker. Makes a zombie. Gets back Scrap Heap Scrounger. Yep. Plays a land. And passes? Whoo! What do we draw? An island. Hit our opponent. Down to 8. Play Filgrief Familiar. Gain 4. Up to 19. Play an island. Play Filgrief Familiar. Up to 23. Back from the brink. We were so close to being dead. And now, now we're at 23 and our opponent's at 8. And we have a huge wall of defense. Yep, draws a card down to 7. The good news is we're not even dead to an Elder Deep Fiend here. Opponent passes. Let's see what we draw. Whew! Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. That's Combustible Gearhulk. We'll double it. I'm assuming our opponent's going to let us draw 6 cards. Oh, and there's Reflector Mage. So, add blue, add white, Reflector Mage. Bounce the Spirit token. Bounce a Zombie token. And our opponent scoops it up. 5-color Panharmonicon. Doubling its way to victory. Do we just run it back? Let's let's just run it back. This deck. Okay. We'll try this. No Panharmonicon, but we got some stuff. Land for our opponent and Crypt Breaker. Wandering Fumarole, goo. Another Estuary for opponent, untapped. And there's a Smuggler's Copter. Opponent gets in for 1. Let's just Forest and Glint Nest Crane. Grab Pilgrim's Eye. Put the rest to the bottom. Pass the turn. Opponent discards a land, makes a zombie, fires up Smuggler's Copter. Gets in for 3. Gets to loot. Discards Haunted Dead. Alright, down to 16. Plays a Swamp. We get a Familiar. Now let's just Shambling Vents. Pass the turn. Opponent gets back Haunted Dead. Fires up Smuggler's Copter. Attacks with Copter and the zombie. Gets to loot. Discards a land. We'll just block zombie. Opponent plays land. Passes. Reflector Mage. Bounce the zombie token. Play a Evolving Wilds. Pass the turn. Opponent discards their last card. Makes a zombie. Well, empty-handed they are. That was a Smuggler's Copter. Opponent draws a card, tapping out the zombies. Here comes Smuggler's Copter. Gets in for 3, does some looting. Down to 10. That Copter has been pretty annoying. We'll take it. Discards a Swamp. Play a Scrap Heap Scrounger. Well, sack Evolving Wilds, get a Swamp. Servant of the Conduit. Pilgrim's Eye. Search out a land. I guess we just get a Plains. Play the Plains. Play Servant of the Conduit. And pass the turn. Play some defense. Another Haunted Dead. Sure. They're going pretty wide, but is it enough? Draws a card. Down to 18. Here comes Smuggler's Copter. Does some attacking. Discards Prized Amalgam. So let's trade and chump. Opponent plays a Sanctum. We draw Reflector Mage. So let's Reflector Mage. Bounce Crypt Breaker. Filigree Familiar. Gain a couple life. Play Needle Spires. Pass the turn. Well, hopefully our opponent doesn't have Elder Deep Fiends. There's Wharf Infiltrator. There's Smuggler's Copter. Opponent does some big attacks. They want Haunted Deads in the graveyard. Alright. So attacks with everything. Loots with Smuggler's Copter. Discards the Crypt Breaker. Okay. So we will block a Spirit. Block a Haunted Dead. Block a Haunted Dead. Take 4. Draw a card. Hold out Settlement. Has Transgress the Mind. Gonna take our Gear Hulk. Out of cards though, which is good. Hopefully we draw something here. Prophetic Prism gives us a redraw. So Prophetic Prism draws us a card. Filigree Familiar, back up to 10. Evolving Wilds, and pass the turn. No art on the Eldrazi's. Oh, Modo. Here comes Smuggler's Copter. Opponent does some attacking. Loots with Smuggler's Copter. Discards an island. Let's crack Evolving Wilds. Get an island. And then just cash in our Filigree Familiar. Draw a card. The land draw isn't going to get it done. Oh, deck, please, come on. Well, Ether Hub gets us an energy. Let's pass the turn. And is this Elder Deep Fiend? Oh dear. Is this Death? Most likely. So our opponent found their Deep Fiend. Taps our creatures and Shambling Vents. Sacks Sanctum. Gets another Elder Deep Fiend. Here comes Smuggler's Copter. Attacks with everything. Well, we need to do some blocking. Fire up Wandering Fumarole. Opponent loots. Discards Prized Amalgam. Block Elder Deep Fiend. Drop to 2. Liliana the Last Hope. Takes it up. Ooh, Eerie Interlude. Does that keep us alive? Maybe? So let's Ether Hub. And let's pass the turn. See if our opponent plays right. Another Elder Deep Fiend, and that does it. Alright. Well, too many lands in that one. We just couldn't find action. Maybe we want Ceremonious Rejection. Going down like a Reflector Mage. Maybe just 2 Reflector Mage. Try it like that. Alright. We get to play first. And we got some Cranes. Cranes are cards. Island. Goo. Tap land for our opponent. Let's play a Plains and Glint Nest Crane. There's Panharmonicon. Alright. 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 Pass the turn. Opponent plays an island and Wharf Infiltrator.
we get an eerie interlude. So let's Glint Nest Crane. Do some more digging. We want to be able to block this Wharf Infiltrator. Ooh, old Combustible. All right. Combustible Gearhulk, play an Ether Hub, pass the turn. Well, if we don't get hit by discard, this hand looks really crazy. Scrap Heap Scrounger. Wow! Wow, we're doing it. We're doing it. Opponent passes. Let's Ether Hub, get an energy, and just slam a Panharmonicon. Oh, Philharmonica, getting it done. Oh, pass the turn. Wow, look at this. Look at this. We can actually Prophetic Prism and Eerie Interlude next turn. Oh my god. You gonna hit us with Scrap Heap Scrounger? Sure. Yeah. We do not mind, even a little bit. Down to 17, plays an island, and Hardcast Soul Prize Amalgam. Alright, let's Prophetic Prism, draw a couple cards, Valving Wilds, and Bring to Light, play a mountain, pass the turn. Opponent goes to combat, attacks with both. So let's block, and then just Eerie Interlude. So, gonna get 4 Crane triggers on the end step. Opponent, more Prized Amalgams. Well, let's see what we find here. Glint Nest Crane gives us a Filigree Familiar. Decent. Number 2, a Noxious Gearhulk. Stuff to the bottom. Number 3, a Panharmonicon. More stuff to the bottom. And number 4, a Prophetic Prism. Well, maybe Pilgrim's Eye, actually. Yeah, let's Pilgrim's Eye. And put the rest to the bottom. See what we draw here. Untap land would be so good. Filigree Familiar. So in that case, I think we just Pilgrim's Eye, double trigger, get the rest of our basics, Swamp and Forest, play the Swamp, Filigree Familiar, gains us 4, back up to 21, and then we can just discard a Valving Wild since we're out of action, or basic lands anyway. So pitch basics, or Valving Wilds. Opponent gets in, Prized Amalgams, Scrap Heap Scrounger. Now let's just triple block a Prized Amalgam and block there. Let's do it like that. So stuff dies, we draw a card. Servant of the Conduit. Opponent, Haunted Dead. Sure, that's fine. Because we have some Gearhulks and Bring to Lights. Good God. Noxious Gearhulk. Double triggers. Kill Prized Amalgam. Kill the Spirit Token. Gains us a bunch of life. Play a Forest. Pass the turn. Panharmonicon goes to combat. Tags with Wharf Infiltrator. We will block with the Glint Nest Crane. So our opponent's trying to set up Scrap Heap Scrounger, get back Prized Amalgams, which is fine. Cast the Scrap Heap Scrounger. Wandering Fumarole. Well, let's get in with Noxious Ghoul. Play... Oh, what do we do here? Let's just Panharmonicon and Filigree Familiar. Puts us up to 26. 28, actually. Triple triggers. Play Wandering Fumarole. Pass the turn. Here comes the Dorks from the graveyard. Our opponent's problem is we got a bunch of Bring to Lights in hand. And Bring to Lights, good. And we're at 28. So let's see what our opponent can do. I think it's all about Elder Deep Fiend. I think that's our only realistic shot here. Goes to combat. Scrounger, Amalgam, Scrounger. So block Scrounger. And that's fine. We'll take 9. Draw a card. Ether Hub. Estuary for our opponent. Tapped. And another Haunted Dead. Sure. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring to Light X5. Get a Cloud Blazer. Cast Cloud Blazer. Draw 6, gain 6. There's our Eerie Interlude. And then tap, turn it into white mana, and tap. Eerie Interlude. We'll blink the team. Play Lumbering Falls. Pass the turn. Get a few triggers. Kill Prized Amalgam. Kill Prized Amalgam. Kill Scrap Heap Scrounger. No lands to search for. We just got to make sure we don't draw ourselves to death. So, draw 6 gain... draw 6, gain 6 from Cloud Blazer. Get a bunch of Glint Nest Crane triggers. There's a Prophetic Prism. Panharmonicon. Glint Nest Crane. Number 3. Prophetic Prism. Rest to the bottom. No lands to search for. This deck is so absurd. Oh, kill Scrap Heap. Kill Prized Amalgam. Kill Prized Amalgam. And discard some cards. Evolving Wilds. We gotta discard things that draw us cards, most likely. And our opponent scoops it up! 5-color Panharmonicon. Good lord. Why? Why do we keep winning? Why is it so good? I don't get it. Oh my god. So what did we learn this week about 5-color Panharmonicon? And I am absolutely stunned. We literally did not lose a match. 5-0 in our matches, 100% match win percentage, and we won 10 out of our 12 games. So we were not only killing it in our matches, but in our games as well. I have never, in the entire history of Against the Odds, had a deck that went undefeated or even anywhere close to undefeated. So this one certainly caught me by surprise. I was worried it would be too slow and just not impactful enough, but Panharmonicon was absolutely absurd. Like, so absurd. We could get behind, and we play a Panharmonicon, and once we start doubling up enter the battlefield triggers, all of a sudden we're just right back in the game. And there's not really a whole lot our opponent can do about it if they can't deal with the Panharmonicon. Just every single card in our deck becomes like a mythic rare, and some of our mythic rares become like super mythic rares. It's just really crazy what all these cards do when we have a Panharmonicon on the battlefield. And thanks to Glintneck Crane and Prophetic Prism, we get to cycle through our deck a lot, so it's easy to find our Panharmonicons. We were pretty consistent with getting it down, and then of course, if we actually get Eerie Interlude going on top of it, it just does absurd things. So many triggers, so much value. So this deck is crazy. This just... it is absolutely ridiculous. If I had known we were just going to sit down and 5-0 with it, I probably would have just used this for budget magic instead of Against the Odds, because I totally did not expect this deck just to absolutely destroy the competition, but it did. So I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. It was really fun to play. I mean, Panharmonicon is one of the coolest cards, and when it actually works, which is apparently all the time based on our matches, it is just really crazy. Gain 10 life here. Draw 4 cards, gain 4 life there. Kill your entire team with Noxious Gear Hulk. Bounce everything with Reflector Mage. Even just Fill Refamiliar. Stalls out, gains so much life. We draw so many cards. Prophetic Prism becomes a 2-mana colorless draw 3, draw 4. It's... I'm at a loss for words for just how ridiculous and how awesome this deck was. So, I don't know. If you want to try something that's not that expensive and really spicy for your next FNM, try 5-color Panharmonicon, because apparently it can actually win games. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Anyway, that's been our Against Odds for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the videos, and I will talk to you soon.